Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one stop podcast for students, professionals, parents, and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career guidance, and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S. Mishra, to the show, and happy listening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode on India Career Center. I'm delighted to have Mr. Ramkrishna Bodu back again. So, welcome, Mr. Ramkrishna Bodu, to India Career Center. Thank you once again to be with us.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Pleasure. It's always, I'm glad, that you keep bringing me back from time to time. Wonderful. Very nice to be here again.
Excellent. To start our conversation, so today we are talking about parenting. So, of course, we will talk about what is happening right now. But to set the context, I think let's also try to look at what was parenting in the earlier times. And let's set the context of this conversation so that we can try and pick up something which were good in the olden days, ancient times, and whether some of it, in terms of its value, is still very good to be adopted again in today's context. So, Mr. Ramakrishna Bodu, if you can tell us about the parenting styles of the ancient times to start the conversation and to set the context of today's discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mishra ji, once again. So I would like to start with, taking a reference from what Swami Vivekananda had to say. Swami Vivekananda once said that out of all the domains, parenting is to get through constantly and truly fulfill the duties which they owe to their children for having brought them to the worldly existence. And it's a very journey. It is not a beginning or an end. It is a very journey and it doesn't end at any point. It's a constant journey. And at the same time, I would also pick up some other philosophical thoughts from Sri Aurobindo. This great personality has said once that parenting is all about transferring values, culture, and knowledge from one generation to the next generation. And that is the context. That's the context on which we're going to talk about. We're going to pick up those thoughts of Sri Aurobindo and then see. Now let's question ourselves as parents here. Are we truly transferring those values, those culture, and knowledge from our generation down the line to our next generation? Are we really doing it? That's a big question. That is one of the area which is very crucial, to make parenting a successful, a journey. Now, everybody, most of us would have known about these modern parenting styles. Typically, they were called as authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, uninvolved. These are some of the modern parenting styles, according to Diana Baumrind, who have pioneered them, many decades ago, right? Which is good. This is to give a tag to a specific style and then see what are the shortfalls and what are the advantages and all. They're all good. At least in the modern times, I would suggest every parent should go do a self check. What style is yours and how is it impacting your child and how is it impacting you as a parent back? So that is one aspect. Now, going back to the thought from Sri Aurobindo, transferring those values, culture, and knowledge from one generation to the other. Let me go a little, backwards to the ancient time. Typically, in ancient India, these parenting styles, this ancient India, when I say, when these modern styles were, they were not coined even. This is few hundreds of years ago. That is how it used to be. Okay. The parenting is deeply influenced by cultural, societal, and religious norms.
Mm.
They're deeply influenced by those norms. Now, in the modern times, societal and cultural religion, they have taken their own, these parameters themselves have transitioned from, into different dimensions.
Mm.
Because different periods, different regions, they have their own unique practices, they have their own styles, they have their own belief system. So they're not same across. Now, what does it mean when we say cultural, religious, or societal norms? I'm sure most of us would have heard about something called Gurukula system.
Mm.
It is a very structured form of imparting some knowledge, education, and the teacher to parent, the teacher to student ratio, and the involvement of parent in that segment. They're all pretty good in those times. That is one Gurukula system that was actively participating system on child's upbringing. We used to live together in a bigger house with more number of family members, different relations. you know so the guidance for the child used to come from different corners.
Mm.
When one of the parent is angry with the child, and the child used to go and sit in the lap of grandparents or aunt or uncle or whatever, and then, not that they're trying to pamper it, but they're trying to console the child. They tried consoling the child. They used to give that support, and of course elders in the family. The next aspect, if you look at values and virtues,
Mm.
in ancient times, if you look at, there's a lot of emphasis on values. When I say values, I would put that in a perspective that we all can understand, because values, most of the time, they're unwritten, unlike law, right? So how to respect, humility, compassion, discipline, daily chores. Now, we do this in some form or the other, even today, but not to a greater extent that was done with more discipline in the ancient times. Now, there's another aspect to the style or a practice it used to be. There are ceremonial practices in the past. They used to call it as sanskaras. Okay, there is a series of sacraments or rites of passage throughout the significant stages in a child's life. The family
Correct.
used to take care of it. That used to instill a lot of value based knowledge.
Mm.
Another most important is discipline. You may relate that discipline to a more authoritarian approach. This was there in the past as well, especially respecting elders. Even today, the other day, I was watching. I'll give you a very cinematic example.
Mm.
Okay, I'll give you a very cinematic example. Now, we all know Rajnikant and Kamal Haasan, right? They're
Mm.
they're very good actors and all, and they're contemporary. And at one point, they were a peer group, and they were competing with each other at one point. But this was a video. I think this was in one of the reels or a clip from the old times. Rajnikant was attending a function, and suddenly he receives a call from Kamal Haasan. And Rajni was in his own style, he's sitting very relaxed, leg on leg, and then he's sitting very relaxed in a typical Rajnikant style. Now, when Kamal Haasan called, uh, he he quickly took on his legs, and he almost stood up in attention. And then he answered that call. Yes, Kamal, please tell me. Why I picked this example is they're contemporary. They're of almost like a same age group. They have a professional, competition, and there are good souls, both of them. But yet, see the respect towards each other, which Rajni has exhibited. Now, today, look at in the contemporary, even the, do we really see that at all places? Maybe we see it only when there is a camera on.
Yeah, I think these are things which are built over years from your parents,
Yeah,
from the
absolutely.
society where you're living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it is not that nobody want to do it. Nobody is making an effort to cautiously not to do it. We all have become so busy in our lives. We all have been driven by so many things in our life. Unfortunately, we have, lost sight of some of these practices. But yes, still with all the limited time and efforts availability, we've been doing. It's so important that discipline and respect. Even in your sleep, if you have to think about an elder, you will wake up and stand up. Not if that you are, in sleep and relaxed mode. So I'm not exaggerating, but this is how, this was not taught deliberately. This was practiced deliberately by their elders. So the children used to learn it from them directly. Not everything can be taught. Many things can only be experienced.
Absolutely. In fact, most of the children actually learn through experience what they see.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a saying goes this way. Children don't listen to you. They follow you.
Yes,
They do what you do. They don't pay attention to what are the words that are uttering from your mouth. If you're shouting at home, they will shout. If you are jolly at home, they'll be at jolly. If you're serious at home, they'll try to pretend they are also serious. They practice it. So parenting is a very beautiful thing, you know. And just going back further, there used to be in ancient times, there is something called occupational training.
mm,
Most families used to run based on their family occupation. Like there are some traditional occupations or profession every family used to follow. For example, a good amount of them who used to live in the rural segment, most of them, after all, ours is a agriculture driven country. So agriculture used to come into the DNA of every generation in that family. And likewise, there are many other occupational skills, the family trades. They used to be business families. The business used to come it as a trade into them, as a trait into them. So, so to summarize, Gurukula system, joint family system, values and virtues, ceremonial practices, discipline and respect, occupational training. These are the various aspects that were part of the parenting in the ancient time. Now,
mm.
by hearing to all those parameters, all those factors, by now we should have understood that are we really doing all of them, or where are we missing, or what are we missing? But before even we get to that, but let's understand how is it typically being done in the modern context. So that should give us a little bit of
In fact,
but
whatever you've told so far, it becomes too much of homework for the parents.
yes.
So you have to give a simplified model for the parents of today's times.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, that reminds me, though I've summarized, there is a moral education, storytelling tradition, respect to nature. These are some of the other parameters that used to be part and parcel of the family, their culture, the parenting, all of that. So now having said that, I don't want to bog you with too many parameters and talking too good about the past. And I don't want to sound like we have not been doing anything in the modern way, but that's not the case. We have been doing our fair share. But it is not a comparison, but just to understand is basically, the culture, the society, and most importantly, the technological changes have given a different definition and dimension to the parenting.
Absolutely.
The modern day parenting in the last few decades, ever since the joint family structure start getting disturbed in that last 40 years at least, if not earlier than that, the technology is playing a crucial role. And simple example, today, your child is sitting in a children room. Parents are, in their master bedroom, and you have to telephone them to call for dinner. This
Yeah.
happens in many families.
Yes.
This happens in many families. So we are
It's, I
technology.
think this is reflection of our times. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever is happening is actually reflection of our times.
yeah, it's a reality. Now you can't curse about it. It's a reality that we are living in those times. But how we can make it little better, make it little better.
And
Okay.
there seems to be no shortcut. I mean, these are all practices probably will take time. It's not something which can be done immediately. And
Absolutely.
there has to be deliberate attempt to make changes.
Consistently it has to be followed. Again, it is not you're going to utter few words of your mouth and tell your children to do. First, you have to have the patience and time and effort to practice it, and then so that they can do it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you a question. How many of us as parents here are deliberately making an attempt to let our children know about our cultural festivals
Hmm.
thoroughly in detail, like it used to happen from our parents or from our grandparents? How many of us really have time? How many of us, let me ask this, how many of us still remember that specific practice that you have to follow through right from the morning till evening on that specific day of that festival? We have
Absolutely.
come up with too many shortcuts. We have come up with too much of modern version of it. A simple example, in the ancient times, if it is our birthday, you typically, depending on your belief system, some used to go to the temple, or they used to take a head bath and wear new clothes and then take blessing of the elders.
Yes.
Today, the first thing, the kid wakes up and asks, what flavored cake are we going to order today for my evening birthday party?
Hmm. And who are the friends coming for it?
Who are the friends? And that is the planning we are doing now. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying everybody should go to temple or whatever belief it is, but where did we leave all those, and what have we been practicing? And we all become busy, and then we are always in that rat race of picking up those Western culture,
Hmm.
which is okay. That's a reality of our times we are living in. But at the same time, let's not forget the essence that we had in our past. Let's try
Yeah.
to bring in some of them. Let's try to bring in some of them. We don't need to be too hard with ourselves. But but yes, if we can practice if we can practice a collective responsibility. Now I know most parents, both parents are working, and because of the urbanization and all that, it's very difficult to have elders with us, because they have their own sort of fair share of to deal with, and we have our own fair share of lifestyle to lead. If it is possible, if we have a possibility of living together, let's take that as an advantage. If not, at least make a point at regular intervals during the year. Make a point that we all get together as a family. I'm sure most of us do it, but not just for the sake of say hi, hello, take an appointment, and then meet for a dinner. Not like that. Let the children spend a little more time with the elders, so that at least some collective responsibility is restored. If
Yes.
if some of us are doing, and I'm sure we do it, if not, let's try to bring that back. That's one thing that we could do. It's easy. It's only once in 3 months or once in 6 months. Let your children be, 1 week, 10 days, 15 days, whatever time possible with their grandparents, uncle, aunt, possibly. Again, of course, we have to take a lot of caution these days,
Hmm.
especially with girl child, right? And of course, we exercise all of that. But collective responsibility, if we can, I think, if we can bring in by involving our other, family members, that is one thing that we could fix. And truly mapping our style to a modern style, like I called out earlier, which is authoritative, authoritarian, uninvolved, and permissive. I would suggest that you go through some of these practices, the modern practices, and I mean, there is no one good way, but considerably authoritarian approach of parenting is considered to be a better approach over the other three.
Right.
You know, this is about very reasonably good practice. So whereas you put discipline and obedience, at the same time, letting them explore and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another aspect, modern parenting styles, despite the fact that we don't have much of a time and all that, holistic growth. Let's put an emphasis on a holistic growth. Don't let our children be only going to school and coming to home. Let them be part of at least one extracurricular, one co-curricular, a
Mm.
constant effort over the years. And don't try to make your child a superhero. They can't do anything and everything. Earlier days, let's say, as a parent in our childhood, we didn't have so many options. Today,
Mm.
you have dance, you have taekwondo, you have karate, you have Zumba dance. A dance itself will get 10 different flavors. Physical fitness or the martial arts have got 10 different flavors.
Yeah.
Even if you want to send your child for swimming, it itself has got different dimensions to it and whatnot, everything. Let's not try and put everything on their head. You as a parent, you would know better than anybody about your child. See what your child is more inclined towards, and then put at least in 2 to 3 activities. They don't have to be regularly daily, but make it a consistent effort over the years.
Correct.
Like they go to school every day, put that as a practice. So I repeat, before we kind of slip through our mind, collective responsibility is one thing.
Yes.
Preferably, take an approach of authoritarian. But again, it again depends on our individual personality.
Mm.
Which approach can we take? It is not just overnight, it will be possible. Because we have a certain personality, and then that personality will reflect on our parenting. But
Absolutely.
at least the research has been, advocating that authoritarian would be a reasonably good approach. And holistic development. And most importantly, career orientation, career education. If you remember, if you recall, earlier we talked about the ancient India, the occupational knowledge used to transfer from one generation to other within the family.
Correct.
A farmer's son know how to farm. A businessman, a family member know how to run business or a trade.
Mm.
There are many such examples. But today it is not possible because we have broken that system completely. So
Yeah.
it is important in the modern times, use technology, embark onto a career mentor or a career counselor or somebody who's an experienced, and see to that that career orientation and career education is imparted on our children. I would suggest leave the school. Let's not blame the school or the education system for everything and anything. They will do at their own course. But as parents, we still can take charge of it. At least every week, if we can let our children to spend 1 to 2 hours over a weekend on career education. It could be about self-awareness. It could be about what are the various careers that are available. It could be about the world of work. It could be prospects of various careers. It could be what it requires to get where, which courses and anything related to careers about future.
Yeah.
That would put them in a better position, in my view, besides all. And I would suggest, let's use technology to our advantage.
Mm.
Rather than cursing the technology is spoiling us in many different senses. I would give another suggestion here. You divert your screen time of your child towards these kind of activities.
Mm.
Instead of they watching a cartoon or they watching a movie or an OTT or whatever it is, put them a point. I mean, it's a mutually discussed and agreed between you and your child as a parent, that 1 to 2 hours every week, divert that screen time to this. They can research on their own, they can watch some YouTube video, or they can sit on chat GPT and then start putting those prompting and then getting those answers, whatever way it is possible. Let the child
Yeah.
explore. I think that would, put us as parents in a better position, ideally. And most importantly, we should not forget about what do you call the individualism and personal choices.
Yes.
Nurturing that individuality is very important. Because of our busy schedule, because of our own biased knowledge or our own limited understanding, let's not impose it on our children, but let us play a role of a gardener who will take care of the plant
Mm.
by
Correct.
giving all the nutrients, by giving all the healthy, ingredients to let the plant grow. At the same time, you be a protector from pests, insects, by giving required pesticides from time to time.
Absolutely.
When it comes to nurturing a child, but
Mm.
don't try to bring in as if you want your child like you. And I
Yeah.
don't think these modern children, especially the millennials and above, they will not take heed or pay, I mean, literally, they don't care about it. That's how, they're all technology born kids.
No, it would be
So,
a boring place if we created replicas of ourselves, actually.
yeah,
I mean, the whole
yeah,
idea is to allow the speciality in each individual to blossom through, and
yes,
for which I completely agree. I think you pointed out very important points in terms of diverting some of the screen time into exploration, which is an excellent point and which is doable in the
yes,
modern setting.
yes,
And earlier you talked about the joint responsibility with other family members. Again, something which can be practically done. And yes, I think these are some of the excellent ideas which can be adopted. And so, would you like to give an outline of the proposed parenting workshop we are in the process of putting up? And what are the broad contours of those contours of the workshop we are trying to put up, which can help
yes,
parents to navigate through the modern times. And the
yes,
whole idea is to learn what was good in the olden times and bring back some of those values into our lives deliberately. It's not
yeah,
going to be easy.
yes,
A lot of commitment is required for the parents. I know, in a way, I think we are putting little homework to parents now
yes,
through
yes, of
this.
course.
But I guess if we are able to, in the process, create a better future for our future generation,
Yes,
why not make that effort? And
yeah.
please let us know the broad contours of the program which you would like to,
Yeah,
put together.
absolutely, Mishra ji. Yeah, yes. And I hope so far that conversation has put some context about the importance of parenting and different styles, so what we are missing and how to bridge those gaps.
Absolutely.
We've just touched upon it very briefly, but having said that, if we can take it to a deeper level, by conducting a full throttle workshop for a few hours, in making every parent understand for those who are interested. So, having said that, in that context, the following are the various topics or dimensions that we're going to dwell into discussion. Okay, first we will understand about our education system
Hmm.
precisely, and we will take we will begin to understand our education system, how was it in the past, and what has made it to exist it the way it exists today. And we call it as a minute on Indian education, which was given by Lord Macaulay.
And this is
You know?
very important to understand because the whole objective of that was to create not creative people but clerks for India. I mean,
Yes.
if you want to, of course, we will probably delve upon it more deeply in the workshop,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's the whole idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's important to understand, though we are not going to get into any controversies, who, what, where, when, and all not, but at least understand the contextual information. So that is one aspect that we're going to discuss briefly. And most importantly, there are a lot of myths when it comes to parenting, when it comes to career choices, when it comes to holistic development, when it comes to laying down some path to future. We're going to break all those myths.
Very important.
Yeah, break all those myths. For example, let me take, when you want to kind of, when you're parenting, depending on your style or your experience, based on what you have come through, the parent will still say that, no, you choosing maths as a mainstream subject will keep you safe options open across the board.
Very typically, we listen this from parents.
Yeah, parents, and because being mentors, this is what we hear, and the same replicates in their parenting style.
Yes.
Okay, so and now understand. I'll give you another myth. Now, when we are parenting our child as a young toddler, typically when the child is crossing certain milestones, first they crawl, they try to stand with support, and then they take those baby steps, and then they walk with the support of some objects around in the house, and then slowly they start climbing up and jumping from. That's how typical milestones will happen. But understand this, most of us would say in our parenting, when the child is passing through those milestones, we say that, beta gir jayega. Look at this very term of the word we utter is not so positive connoted. Now, instead of that, if we could use beta samal ke,
Be careful.
be careful, explore, but be careful. There's a lot of difference. Now, this requires a lot of effort.
Conscious effort.
Conscious effort, because even in our sleep also, we tell our child, if the child is sleeping next to us, sleep properly next close to me, otherwise you will fall down. As a young toddlers, we still have them, share the bed with us, right? So that is the kind of, those are some of the myths we need to burst and see what we could do. I just gave, one on a career and one on a very early toddler example. So we're going to look at as many as possible. And most importantly, how should a parent be presenting to a child when it comes to typical parenting and in their career journey to making their future? What will be the role of the parent? That will be discussed, and we'll pick up some gardener analogies, we'll pick up some captain of the ship analogy, and many more, and some of the interesting stories and all of that. That's another dimension we look at. Now, most importantly, as we talk through in this session, we're going to discuss deeply about parenting styles and their impact and how to make adjustments.
Yes.
So that you can nurture a better child.
Yes.
You can make a better version of your child. So that we're going to spend a lot of time. This is going to be a very crucial element. And how your parenting style would influence the outcome, what the child is going to come out with. Whether it is going to be his life, or it is going to be his career. Is it going to be his personal relations and all of that?
Yeah.
And most importantly, since we are all concerned about getting our children educated, and that's one of the pathways for us to have, some earning a living, and then settling down in life and all, which is a fair point. So we will dwell upon some details about how is the system working in India and around the world, the education system, and how we could adapt and then pick up some of the best of it.
Yes.
And not just limiting there. What are the holistic development in order for you to develop your child holistically? What are the various parameters in your parenting you can, get into? It could be co-curriculars, extracurriculars. We touched upon this brief point earlier, few minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, I talked about the myth busters earlier. Now, on the same lines, it is important to know what are the various entry eligibility requirement when it comes to their future planning.
Mm.
especially for higher education. That's another parameter that we're going to deep dive into. So all in all, we're going to cover how are we parenting our children, how will it impact on what impact will it create on our child, what will be the outcome, and what is the some of the best practices. And
Yes.
we're going to understand the system. Where was it? How was it? How is it now? And how to take advantage of that system and then make a better person. And what, as a parent, you could do, which is in your hands, not putting everything on the system, especially that holistic development, awareness, orientation. So those elements we're going to largely cover in this workshop. And, that's a brief, Mishra ji, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very comprehensive one. And we will be, of course, announcing in the further, the details of this in the coming days. And we will also share a detailed brochure about this program in the show notes.
Yeah.
And we welcome parents, whoever are interested, to make a deliberate attempt to make amends with some of the parenting styles, and also with a conscious effort that you would like to take up this as something which can help your child to have a better career in future. And that's very important, especially in the current times, with AI and other technology are rapidly changing our lives every
Yes.
moment. Actually, it's
Right.
not about years anymore. I think it's all about happening every moment. So
Yeah.
something new is coming.
Yeah.
So in
Absolutely.
these rapidly changing times, I think it's very important to pause, introspect, reskill, and probably take the next step forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So of course, yes. Yeah. Wonderful. Yes.
So with those words, I thank Mr. Ramakrishna Bodu once again to give a very comprehensive outlook of what we are going to talk about in the upcoming workshop. And see you soon in the next episode again. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here, Mishra ji. Thank you so much. It was nice, as always, partnering and then having these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.